Arena on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. Pierre Thomas, investigative reporter or whatever, criminal justice correspondent or whatever title he has at ABC 7 News, did a ride-along with ICE yesterday. You know, they're in town for Operation Midway Blitz. And here's what they're doing, according to, the agents in charge of these various federal agencies. For example, Marco Charles is the acting director for ICE enforcement and removal operations here. We're talking anywhere from the most egregious child sex offenders to homicide, burglary, assault, domestic violence. It runs the gamut. It's everybody that's committed crime, but the ones we're going to primarily focus on, the ones we want to get off the streets, are going to be our heinous criminals. ATF special agent in charge here, Jonathan Maniff, told ABC 7 that through our crime gun intelligence center with our 15 partner agencies, including ICE, we conducted an investigation in which we identified 30 Tren de Aragua suspected gangbangers that were selling firearms in the Chicagoland area. The main person they were looking for did not find yesterday. Sold undercover agents about 14 guns, and they can trace those guns to shootings, carjackings, and even homicides. So interdicting illegal gun traffickers as well as violent criminals. That's what's called attacking our community, according to politicians from Pritzker and Brandon Johnson to suburban socialists like Daniel Biss in Evanston, as we discussed a bit earlier. This is Pierre Thomas's reporting.
It's a so-called worst of the worst. So the first phase of Operation Midway Blitz appears to be focusing on what they call criminals who are undocumented, who are living in the country, who have committed crimes here. The focus today was on a Venezuelan gang that they believe has been selling illegal guns on the streets of Chicago. And they emphasized that the main person they were looking for today had sold them about 14 guns, and they believe that they've been able to tie those guns that were sold undercover to ATF and other agencies to shootings, carjackings, and even homicides in your city.
So this is controversial? In what sane world is this controversial? Well, we don't live in a sane place in Chicago. We live in a place with politicians like Pritzker meeting with activists like Reina Salam of the U.S. Palestinian Community Network out on the streets yesterday from Congress to Michigan Avenue and back, offering commentary like this.
We are going to keep fighting against the escalated ICE raids and attacks against our communities. Trump says that there's going to be war in Chicago, but I believe in the people power, and the resistance here is strong.
The resistance to operations to remove Tren de Aragua gun traffickers and assorted other violent criminals. Okay. For more on this, pleased to be joined by retired Riverside Police Chief Tom Weitzel. Tom, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me.
So the resistance is strong among those who believe in people power in Chicago.
Yeah, and most of what you just said, you attributed to the governor's office and other activists is complete lies. And falsehoods. You know, I have colleagues and friends who are still active in not only CPD and suburban police agencies, but are on these task forces. And Dan, how it's actually working is early in the morning, the task force, 4 or 5 a.m., they get their packets. They meet for an operational roll call. They get their packets on the specific people they're looking for, which are all violent, felony, convicted felons in the country illegal. And if they happen to go out and conduct these operations and they run across other individuals that are here illegal, they will arrest them. But their targets are given to them in the morning. They go out on teams and they search for the violent criminal offenders. So the narrative you're hearing from the governor's office and others is absolutely, I don't use the term often, but this is an absolute outright lie. There's no truth in it.
Mm-hmm. But the community is afraid. We know this because the self-appointed spokeshumans for the community, all these politicians and professional agitators, keep telling us the community is afraid. Well, of course, the follow-up is never, so what are you afraid of? What is there to be afraid of? Here's what ICE is doing, and you know it. Here's what these other federal agencies are doing. Here's what Chicago police are doing. Are you afraid of the police too? Well, I mean, if you're committing crimes, we want you to be afraid, don't you? I should say, don't we? I mean, so it's just that there's no sense to this, and it feels like we're sawing sawdust because it's just so straightforward.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, they're whipping. It's like they're creating this. In fact, you know, I said the other day that the Chicago Sun-Times Sunday paper might as well have been a handout on how to obstruct the police, how to obstruct ICE, how to, notify the media where you're at, send photographers, do videos. In fact, the governor put a video out that said that everybody should be taping these raids and then sending them to the media, not anybody else. You'd be sending them to the media. So a lot of the news media is whipping this up themselves by making it seem like these are operations that are targeting just your average individual that they're going to scoop off the street. And in fact, the Sun-Times ran an article about taking kids out of school. I don't know if you saw that the other day, but how parents of Chicago public schools should be warned about ICE coming to your school, which is ludicrous.
The no cash bail, Caroline Leavitt took out after that no cash bail. I mean, Trump signed an executive order targeting D.C. first, but talking about other no cash bail jurisdictions like, say, New York and Illinois. This sort of is in the context of the stabbing murder on that Charlotte train station of that Ukrainian refugee. The impact on no cash bail, I mean, just again, refreshing people's recollection here, because this is still being hailed, speaking of things that are just fabrications. No cash bail here is being hailed as it's made Illinois both safer and more equitable. And Tom, all you have to do is look at the crime rate. It's at a 30-year low.
Yeah, the crime stats can always be manipulated. Believe me, I know that, being in law enforcement 37 years to begin with. And I just read that the Illinois Department of Correction isn't even keeping stats on recidivism since 2022. There's no accurate information. But everybody knows the cashless bail that the president's talking about is basically Illinois' Safety Act. Right. And it's been a disaster. And anybody that thinks otherwise, you know, you mentioned the stabbing on the public transportation in Charlotte. That individual had 14 prior arrests, and you might as well have been Illinois. He had 14 prior arrests, a documented schizophrenic diagnosis, and when he was put in prison in 2015, he got early release.
He got early release, but then most recently, when he was arrested in January, he got a walk. He basically was ROR'd on a promise to show up to court. But I mean, if I asked this earlier, if you've got a diagnosed if you're diagnosed as schizophrenic, then how do you have the requisite mental acuity to sign that promise to show up for court? I mean, you don't have the mental capacity to do so ostensibly.
No, For sure. And I heard the mayor make a statement that she has to rethink what safety is. And then on top of that, on this radio broadcast I heard right after that, they interviewed a local ACLU representative, and he actually said that Americans should slow down and think about what happened on the train because we don't know all the facts. Right. And I've seen the whole video, and it's brutal. And if you could, I thought to myself, who could defend that? Yet they brought this ACLU representative on, and he defended it.
So, speaking of this, if this is indeed a legit case of diagnosed schizophrenic, something Trump has said too, sort of off the cuff, there hasn't been. This hasn't been fully formed into how this would be done and whether really it's even the purview of the federal government. But he talked about reopening asylums. What's your take on that in terms of if you have people that have mental illnesses and are inclined to be violent, perhaps as in part caused by whatever mental affliction they have, then they need to be removed from society and under professional care, don't they?
Without a doubt. I mean, we need to have some type of locked facility where they're not out roaming the streets, and you've probably seen them yourself in Chicago, people that downtown in the Loop area. I've been there, and I've seen it. But you need, under medical care, that's correct. They need to have treatment or medical supervision, but they also need to be held in a secure facility and not have some doctor just say, well, you've been here a year, okay, and I think you're okay and you can be released. That isn't working. It's not working. We certainly don't have the beds for that right now, so there would have to be some type of funding that we could put towards individuals that you spoke of earlier, have a diagnosis. Now, I don't want people to understand that we're just kidnapping people off the street. These are individuals that commit these crimes, have documented medical issues, psychological issues that have diagnosis, and they're harming individuals over and over again. They keep reoffending. We do need to secure these people in some type of medical facility.
Well, I mean, they pull them off the streets when it's time to spruce up the city for the Democrat National Convention. So why can't we, or for a NATO conference, why can't we do it when, just as a matter of course, to keep Chicagoans safe and any other community, because it's not just a Chicago problem.
Yeah, they don't do that because it's not politically expedient. It doesn't serve their purpose. And I had my friends that worked at DNC, and they said it was the safest ever. The city was the best it had been in the officers I know in 10 years, and they had put every resource they had towards that. So they don't do that on a regular basis. Right.
Oh, so that's interesting. So what you're saying is when you surge resources, you can improve public safety. What a concept.
Yeah, no doubt. They said every single agency, every single officer was working, vacations canceled. They said with the assistance of the federal government, it literally was the safest they had ever seen the city.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to surge resources to make sure the politicians and the party flacks are safe. But, in terms of your ordinary rabble, your taxpayers on a daily basis, we have more pressing needs than to worry about their pedestrian public safety issues.
No, and what's going to it probably already is backfiring. Do out-of-towners want to visit the city anymore? Do suburbanites want to come down? Are they still attracting the conventions? I just read a story that the storefronts in the downtown Loop area is down almost 50% from occupancy. That has to, some measure of that, Dan, is due to crime and the perception of crime in the city.
Well, they've got a response for that. They've just launched the For the Love of Chicago marketing campaign where you post videos about why you love Chicago onto their Instagram page, and that's going to turn it all around. It's basically just a marketing problem, we're told.
Well, I tell people, why would you spend your hard-earned money and go to the city of Chicago for entertainment, dinner, movie, plays, when they don't care about your safety? I mean, think about that. I mean, when you're done there, go to a hotel for the weekend, and you have to walk back to your parking garage, or you have to leave a play that you might be seeing in the city. You're harassed the entire way back to your parking garage. You have people following you. You have, these are these are individuals with violent criminal histories, and they're not just begging you for money. You know, these are people that have serious psychological problems and stuff. I'm asking, like, do people really want to go to the city anymore until the mayor and his team take crime seriously? I wouldn't spend my hard-earned money down there.
Tom Weitzel, retired chief of police for the village of Riverside. Tom, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a great morning, Dan.
You too. And you join us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business